So welcome to Talking Ball Playoff Edition.
Playoff Edition. That's a good ring to it.
Yeah. So in this video, we're going to break down the first playoff. I don't know if is it the first or the second playoff semifinal. Do you know what time it is?
It's second.
Second.
We play it second.
So it's the night game.
Alabama, Cincinnati. I think it's 3:30, and then y'all are the night game.
Gotcha. So
where y'all playing at?
Hard Rock Stadium,
Miami.
Yep.
Miami.
Yep.
Really?
So the Michigan Georgia preview. But first, I'd like to thank Cam Smith with the Just Jesus Radio.
Thank you, Cam.
Radio Network, internet radio app for all your gospel preaching, gospel singing.
Man, I bought
our boy Dave.
Man.
Our boy Dave is on there Saturday mornings at 8:30, so make sure you give him a listen.
Man.
Also with the American Senior Benefits Insurance Company, you are officially too late to enroll. Open enrollment is closed.
Sorry.
Man, just keep talking, cuz.
But they can't hear.
I promise you, Dave.
No, they can hear. You got a loud voice, man. You carry for real.
Open enrollment is closed, but you can still call him, ask him about all your questions that you may have. But let's dive into this. Going ahead, Michigan pulls the upset.
Michigan, so you really think that?
Well, it's not even really upset because they're ranked number 2.
He won't.
Well, I mean, they
Georgia's
are,
favored.
but Georgia is favored by 7.5.
Okay, so
right now.
they pulled the upset.
I mean, they pulled the upset.
Well, if you're watching at home, don't be a prisoner of the moment, such as Dallas. Don't allow recency bias to control your mind. Had Georgia and Michigan played in week 12,
I'm not really picking that upset.
Had Georgia and Michigan played in week 12,
Well, so do you recant that statement?
everybody in the nation would have picked
So
Georgia.
you don't think Michigan wins? But I mean,
Maybe.
okay.
Michigan's not winning.
Stay tuned.
This is a terrible matchup if you're Michigan.
And I will say this. I was talking to Dallas about this earlier, and this may be a bad take. This may be a terrible take what I'm about to say, but I really think Michigan matches up better against Alabama. And it's not that I necessarily think Georgia's better than Alabama. We've seen them play, and Alabama won pretty easily or pretty handily in a sense. But the two weaknesses, and Alabama did not have those weaknesses exposed against Georgia, but we've seen them struggle against a 6-6 Auburn, a 6-6 LSU, a 6-6 Florida, where the other team was able to get after Bryce Young and they weren't able to stop the run. That's what Michigan's good at. They're able to get after the quarterback and they're able to run the football. Now, again, obviously those weaknesses weren't exposed against Georgia. They did a great job shoring those things up, but we know Alabama is susceptible to falling into that, and that's Michigan's strengths versus with Georgia, they have a great run defense. Even Alabama, the reason they looked like they ran the ball well against Georgia because Bryce Young's scrambling.
Right.
And I think to beat Georgia, that you have to be able to take the top off the defense. And I do not know if Cade McNamara can do that on a consistent down-and-out basis, drive after drive.
And I agree with that part. And I brought this up to John a second ago. The one thing that I would give Georgia, not the only thing, but the one thing that I would give Georgia is the fact that, and John brought this fact up as well when I said this, that Georgia wants so bad to get back to that rematch with Alabama.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, where that could play positively, does it end up playing negatively?
Could they overlook Michigan a little bit?
That they're overlooking that game, especially because I can promise you they're going to be keeping up with that first game at 3:30. I know they're going to be warming up. I understand all that, but
watch out for the Bearcats.
But they're going to know who wins that game by the time they start the
absolutely.
game. So if Bama ends up winning, does that oh Lord, we've got a rematch anticipated coming up? Does Georgia overlook Michigan? I'm not saying they do,
right.
but that could definitely play.
I understand the perspective, but I just don't think that's the reality. I don't think the Georgia players are sitting in the locker room before the game with the Alabama-Cincinnati game on. I just don't believe that. I think they may know. I
agree with that, but I do think they'll know, obviously.
Right. I think they'll know. Players are probably on their phones up until game time with some music, whatever. I mean, they'll probably know. But and no doubt they want to get Alabama again. But I think that the players will be focused enough and the coaching staff will have them focused enough to say, look, we know y'all want a shot at Bama again, but you don't get that shot unless you win.
And that's the thing. Michigan is a dang good team.
They are. They're
arguably. I'm not looking past them.
I mean, everybody, a lot, when I don't say everybody, a lot of people were, after Ohio State demolished Michigan State, I didn't say a lot, I said a lot of people, not us.
None of us.
Were, Michigan or Ohio State's the best offense in the nation, blah, blah, blah. And they held them to 7 points, or it was a low scoring.
Yeah, it was low scoring, especially at the beginning.
Low scoring game. I mean, they dominated the game though.
Yeah,
and like I said, Michigan's definitely not a bad. I mean, they're not.
No, I think Michigan has a puncher's chance in this game because you have the best running back doing college football in Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins. But the reason I keep going back to this is it's so hard for me to see a team running the ball down Georgia's throat.
I agree with that.
It's just hard for me to see that.
Nobody's done it the last 3 years.
They have a great run-stopping D-line. They have a great running back seven. I mean, even their secondary is pretty good at tackling the running back. So it's just hard for me to see that. And let's not act like I said I don't believe Cade McNamara can take the top off the defense consistently. He made some big-time throws against Ohio State. He really did.
Right.
But is Cade McNamara that guy? He kind of reminds me a little bit of a Stetson Bennett. To me, the jury's still out a little bit. Is Cade McNamara the guy that can drop back a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop, if they get behind versus Georgia and bring them back? I just don't know.
Right.
If he's
And here's the thing. Are we going? And we won't know up until game time. Are we going to see the same defense that we've seen for the first 12 weeks of the season, where they dominated football? Are we going to see or are we going to see the defense that couldn't get any pressure on Bryce Young?
Well, you also got to understand the matchup here. This is.
They have a good offensive line. I know
they
that.
They do have a good offensive line. Very good offensive line.
And I understand. Like I said, there's obviously the defense we saw versus Bama wasn't the defense we saw all year. But I don't know, man. It's just really crazy to me what I'm seeing on social media about this game is a lot of people are writing Georgia off.
Right, and I'm not doing that by any means.
For 10 weeks, Georgia was ranked number 1.
Right.
And everybody in the nation said it was Georgia and everybody else.
Right.
And we do that every year. We exaggerate a team, and most of the time that team ends up dropping a game. And everybody, you remember the years of I remember the year that Bama lost to Auburn and didn't get in the SEC. I remember for 11 weeks that year, it was Bama and everybody else.
Right.
And I remember hearing, Bama could beat the Jets. The Alabama Crimson Tide could beat the New York Jets. And then, boom, they lose to Auburn. People would do that junk. And you got to understand, man, despite numbers, despite what you have in recruiting, despite what you have on paper, games have to be played.
Yep.
100%.
And ebbs and flows of a game can come. I mean, Georgia, outside of the first quarter, that Bama game never had an ounce of momentum.
No.
Georgia's defense came alive in the second half.
Yeah.
After that, they allowed 10 points, and that 7 of that came on the first drive. After that first drive from Bama, they shut them down. Now, understand, they didn't have Mechie. I understand. Bama showed the blueprint.
We knew what the blueprint was.
Right. I get that, but just because you know the blueprint doesn't mean you can achieve the blueprint.
They don't have John Mechie. They don't have Jameson Williams. No, they don't.
And I agree entirely. And like David said, I believe to start this video off is don't be a prisoner of the moment. Let's not forget that Georgia has been extremely dominant.
Right.
But let's not forget that Alabama has struggled at times. I know this ain't an Alabama-Georgia video, but let's also not forget Michigan's hot. And they've got a great O-line. Cade McNamara has done enough to keep a balanced offense.
Yep.
Blake Corum and Hassan Haskins can run really well, and they've got a stingy defense. They can rush 4 and drop 7 and get after the quarterback. And I mean, I think Georgia wins. I think Georgia's the better team. I don't think Michigan matches up well against Georgia.
Right.
That's my thing is I'm not discrediting Michigan who they are. I just don't think it's a favorable match.
And I agree entirely. But with that being said, it would somewhat shock me. Now we've seen them struggle against Michigan State. Let's not forget about that, where they gave up a bunch of points.
Right.
But I just don't necessarily see this being a high-scoring game. I don't necessarily see Georgia going up there and putting up a bunch of points. So I believe Michigan's going to be in this game. I do believe it'll be a closer game than what maybe some people think, potentially, which gives Michigan a puncher's chance.
Right. And here's another thing, leading up to, I'm wondering, I'll be eager to know how Stetson plays in this game.
Or if Stetson's going to go out there number 1.
Stetson's starting. I'll go ahead and tell you that.
Don't.
I think so,
them
too.
boys don't pick up practice again until Saturday. You'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely, I would say he starts.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
But
who knows? Davis will start.
And here's the
might not be a bad idea.
And here's the thing, he's gonna hear it. He's already heard it all week, and he's gonna hear it all the way up until.
He's heard that for years.
But as bad as he's heard it this week.
Yeah, it's definitely amplified, no doubt.
No, it's amplified, but he's heard it for a long time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
What I'm saying. I mean, how old is he?
30.
No, he's not 30. Okay,
he's been at Georgia for
But the thing is, he's still a kid.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know. I mean, does he come out there, and everything's finally got to him, and he stinks? He can't hit a 10-yard pass, or does he come out there and defy all the odds and?
Well, I'll say this.
On the other hand
of that, our defense for the next month has to hear over and over and over, not only from fans, from social media, but from the coaching staff, from the film room. I mean, could you imagine being that defensive front that for 12 weeks owned college football that in that game could do nothing and sitting there watching that film. And
Yeah.
you've got Trey Scott, you got Kirby Smart, you got Will Muschamp sitting there beside you. You know how embarrassing that
Hey,
is.
Will Muschamp to Clemson, maybe? Uh-oh.
I don't see how that could work.
Why?
I don't necessarily think I don't think that's going to
I don't
happen.
think it's
But
gonna happen, but I think it could
I
work.
don't see
I
how
would-
it could work, man.
if I found out that we hired him as our DC, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
No, he's
But I don't think it
literally
happens.
won a national championship
Yeah.
as a defense
But I
coordinator.
don't
Yeah,
think it happens.
I don't think it
But I
happens.
want to try to
It-
change
it
the
could
subject,
work.
but love Will Muschamp.
But here's the thing. All right, so let's look at these two teams. Michigan is a lot like Georgia. They pass well.
I agree.
They're not a team that's going to light you up passing, but they're an efficient passing game.
Yep.
When the run game is working.
Yep.
Georgia's a lot the same way. Georgia's been a very efficient passing team all year due to the run game. Josh Pate said it best. There's a difference in passing with luxury and necessity. I don't believe if you get in the fourth quarter, Georgia's up 13, 14, or 17, I don't believe Michigan's got the offense to come back.
I agree with that.
But if we get down to the wire and Michigan's up 3, Michigan's got the defense to absolutely win that game. If I was to drop a score prediction, I think I would take Georgia 24-13 or 24-10 or 24-14. I don't see Georgia scoring more than in the 20s. And I don't know. I just don't believe a run-heavy team will find pay dirt much against that Georgia defense. I understand. They looked like absolute crap last Saturday. But the talent is still there.
And let's not forget what y'all did the first 12 weeks
Exactly.
of the season.
And
That's what I think.
Arkansas came in as a team that, much like Michigan, they passed well based off what they were doing running the ball, and they did nothing. Florida came in as that team. They passed well when they were running the ball. They did nothing. I just don't think this is a favorable matchup for Michigan. Now, their defense can keep them in this game, 100%. Their defense can keep them in this game. But I don't see our defense, especially after what happened, letting up and seeing that happen.
And to piggyback off of that, I'll say it's one game, right? I mean, it's not like they're playing a best of 3 series. Not like they're playing a best of 7 series here. And I would
the biggest
say
goal doesn't always win every fight.
absolutely. And I would say I don't think how many points did Bama end up beating y'all by?
40.
41, 24, 34, like 17-ish points.
So the defense gave up 34.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily believe that Bama's 17 points better than Georgia.
Right.
But last Saturday they beat them by 17
Right.
points. Georgia could go out there and they could beat Michigan 41-10, and I don't think they're 31 points better than Michigan.
Right.
And I think Michigan could beat them by 17, 20 points. You know, it comes down to matchups. It comes down to just a few plays. As bad as that Bama game looked, we discussed it multiple times. There's 4 plays that if went Georgia ways, it's a completely different ball game. One interception from Stetson here, a fumble here. That's going to be hard against that Michigan defense,
Yeah,
and vice versa.
I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, they have practically one of the best defensive ends in the country.
They have the best defense.
Yeah, in Aiden Hutchinson. I
Best
mean,
defensive lineman in the nation.
one play, a strip sack fumble
Yeah,
recovery. I mean,
Now, I will say this
it's
as
a
well.
different ball game.
Todd Monken has done a great job all year when facing teams like this of neutralizing a guy like that. And that's an NFL kind of thing.
Right.
You see that in NFL, and that's where he comes from. I could easily see him being a non-factor. Not because he's not good, but because I can see Georgia saying, all right, he's on the right, run to the left.
Right. Well, I mean,
He's on the left,
yeah.
and rolling Stetson out the complete other way.
I mean, you saw Chase Young against Clemson, who balled out. He didn't get, I believe, a single tackle or single sack against us because we said we're not even going to let him have the chance.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
If we're doing a drop back pass, you're going to have a chip block with the tight end alongside the left tackle. We're not going to run his way, and you can definitely do that to a defensive end at times. I mean, no doubt. But also Dave Ajabo, the guy on the other end, he's a dang good defensive end as well.
It's not a one-man show for that defensive line.
It's not just Aiden Hutchinson.
I would argue that is the best pass rushing defensive line in college football.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say.
But also, once again, matchup-wise, that doesn't match up well against Georgia.
Right.
Georgia's not dropping back on a 5-step drop 2 times out of 10.
Right,
plays.
yeah.
And it's dump off screens.
Right.
It's quick RPOs. It's not a lot of deep shots.
And once again, this may be a bad take, but I would be more confident if Michigan was a pass-heavy offense. If they were an air-it-out type of offense, I would say I think Michigan has a dang good chance because we've seen Georgia struggle at times to get to the quarterback. We've seen their secondary be susceptible because of a lack of a pass rush, but that's not Michigan's offense. That's what gives me pause about Michigan having a really, really good chance in this game because I just don't, again, for the millionth time I've said it, I just don't think they match up.
College football used to be defense and running, and it's turned into a more offensive thing because of these elite defenses.
Right.
For years, you take this Georgia defense to 2005, it's a national championship.
Right.
And those years. But we've gotten to a day and age where teams understand and Nick Saban's done it better than anybody else.
Right,
that
100%.
they have to throw the football.
Got to evolve.
I don't believe Michigan will be able to drop back and pass consistently. And I don't really think Georgia can drop back and pass consistently on them.
Right.
That's the thing. I think it's going to be a heavyweight match.
Now Michigan did just dominate Iowa. And I understand
Iowa was a good defense.
I was about to say, I know Iowa has a terrible offense.
Iowa was a good defense. For
however
many
their
games, that defense sold
but their defense
died.
sustained all year. It was the offense that couldn't keep up.
Their defense was magical.
Their defense was, especially turnover wise.
Their defense managed to get 4 or 5 interceptions a game,
which was crazy.
They don't have a man up and punch you in the mouth defense. And
right.
I promise you, they don't have an SEC defense.
Right.
Iowa has the type of defense. They have a bunch of upperclassmen.
Right.
They don't necessarily have a ton of super talent, but they're never out of place.
And I'm not discrediting their defense.
But they are a dang good defense. And, I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and Michigan put 42 up on them.
Yeah. I mean, and Blake Corum, he's a home run hitter.
Yep.
I mean, he can take it to the house anytime he touches the ball. Hassan Haskins can wear a defense down. And I'll be real honest with you, that Georgia D-line, not just Jordan Davis, especially Jordan Davis, they looked gassed a lot.
That's what me and Dave were
game.
talking about the other day.
Like, a lot in that game. Like, almost weirdly. Like, it was...
And that's something you were talking about, that you were saying legit. That something was up, and I don't know, does that continue if something internally is going on?
Hey, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
because that was one of the biggest things I noticed.
I don't think it does.
Was that obviously you look at Jordan Davis and there was multiple times, obviously he wasn't playing because he was gassed. I mean, he's a bigger dude. But a lot of times
he's really useless in the pass rush setting.
Yeah, but a lot of times that D line as a whole just looked like once the O line punched him in the mouth, you're like, all right.
Yeah. Do you think
that's the thing as a defense? You and they say it all the time, especially in like SEC ball, you get punched in the mouth enough times.
Oh yeah,
your wheels broke.
Do you think we see as much subbing as far as what we've seen against Alabama?
Oh, that's Georgia.
Okay,
we do that versus Vanderbilt.
I still don't understand
that's Georgia. I'm not saying I understand it.
Right.
I'm not saying we should do it. But yeah, that's Georgia.
And once again, this shows a little bit of my ignorance on Michigan. But I know Alabama is a little bit high tempo, which sometimes allows you as a defense not to sub, to get more bodies in there and keep the stamina up. And I would imagine, just the way Michigan plays, they're a little bit more of a slow.
I don't see them going much tempo. I don't see them going much tempo.
Which to me would play in Georgia's favor. They can substitute guys. They can get keep more guys fresh.
Right, for sure. And you understand. I mean that Michigan definitely had to see that.
Absolutely.
Now, seeing it on the film and saying, hey, we need to do that, go up tempo, and then transition from the film room to the field and being able to do it's a whole different story, especially if you haven't done it all year.
The playoffs and bowl games are a lot of fun because you see matchups you wouldn't otherwise see.
Right.
Georgia's having to prepare for a team they ain't played in forever.
Yeah.
And for Michigan.
I mean, not to bring in lowly 9-3 Clemson, but I mean, playing Iowa State's going to be really cool this year. I've never seen us play Iowa State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be
It's really fun. And win or lose, it's a lot of fun. But no, I agree. I mean, let's not act like one of these teams couldn't blow the other one out.
No, I don't see it being a blowout either way.
No, I
see this being an old school knockdown, drag out.
I do too, but I don't see it being a blowout.
Right.
But if the dust settles and Michigan won by 30 or Georgia won by 30, it's college football.
Right.
A few plays.
Who's the better team on that day?
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
It doesn't.
Absolutely.
And it matters your talent, but when rubber meets the road.
Yep. Ball bounces this way.
Yep.
I mean,
things can go your way.
The kicker. Let's talk about field position. The punter punts it. It hits at the 1 yard line. It bounces back instead of bouncing forward.
I mean, how many times
you can't control that stuff.
This isn't the best analogy, but how many times have we been playing Madden and it's been a close game? You hit the wrong button or something.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fact.
You got triangle wide open, but you hit X. I mean, and that's not the best analogy.
Right, but it happens.
I mean, there's some truth to that, man.
But mistakes happen and things you don't. I mean,
that's like the last time we played, man. My dude just fumbled, and I can't control fumbles.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I spilled ink all over my sister's house.
Georgia's up 3. We got 5 minutes left. We're trying to kill some time. Stetson goes to throw a screen. It gets tipped in there. They intercept it. I mean, anything can happen.
Yep.
Comes down to a few plays, especially in these big matchups.
But absolutely. And so let's not act like one of these teams can't run away with it. But if everything happens the way it's supposed to, whoever wins the trenches is going to win this game. And that's said for every game, but especially a game like this.
Yep.
Neither one of these teams are finesse.
No.
neither one of these teams have
Yeah.
the ability to play finesse.
Like
This is a
I
knockout
expect to
drag-out.
see on both
This
sides.
is gonna be an old school sort of football game.
Yeah.
At least it should be.
I expect to see on both sides of the ball each team line up and try to run the football.
Oh, no doubt.
Whether they're averaging 1 yard a carry or 3 yards a carry. I expect them to line up and
Georgia's been
yeah.
the best run
Yeah.
defense for the last.
yeah,
20
and
years.
I think it's going to come down to who can establish that run game first. Can Hassan Hassan Haskins
Hassan Haskins.
can he break off a long run? Can
Right.
can Zeus break off a long run? Can Kendall Milton break
Right.
off a long run? You know, so on and so
Now,
forth.
my ignorance here is Michigan's quarterback mobile at all?
He can run.
Is he
He's,
one of those
he's
guys-
not
He's not a statue.
he's not a Bryce Young.
Yeah, he's not a
What
statue.
is he
He's
compared
not
to
a dual
Stetson's
threat guy.
mobility?
I would say probably
I'd
a
say
little
not-
bit less.
Yeah, I don't think he has Stetson.
But
mobility.
I will say this.
Because
One,
Stetson's mobile, but Stetson's also not as mobile as people act.
yeah,
like he is.
but also one thing they do is their 5-star backup, who's I believe a true
Yep.
freshman,
They
JJ
have-
McCarthy.
they have some packages.
They have,
for it.
and
Yeah.
he's very mobile.
He's
They'll-
very mobile, yeah.
and they'll just
Hey,
run
watch
read options off of that.
watch that running back. I don't know what his name is. Whoever it was can throw
What team?
dimes.
Donovan
Oh no,
Edwards.
it was that was a wide receiver.
I thought it was a running
It might
back.
have been running.
I'm pretty
No,
sure it was
wait,
a running.
yeah, you're
I'm
right.
pretty sure
I
it was
think
running
you're
back out of the
Is it
backfield.
Donovan Edwards.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name
Oh, wide
was,
receiver.
but dude can throw dimes.
Yeah.
I mean that was
I
like
don't
that
really
was
know
like
who it
that
was.
was like a 45-yard bomb on the money.
Yeah, oh no, that was
I
perfect
mean,
throw. Perfect throw.
yeah,
Can't
watch
beat that.
him.
But I just don't believe that a team that knows they've got to line up and run the football against Georgia is going to have success.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm assuming we're doing picks like later on, but if you actually watch this far, drop some, your score predictions early on
Yeah.
of the game and see what y'all think. So
So-
early on, we're not gonna make official picks, but who you leaning towards right now, Dow? Like seriously, who you leaning towards? Don't let peer pressure get you. We want your honest take here.
I want your honest take. I don't care what you think.
Just early lean, maybe score. What you thinking?
Michigan.
What score you feeling? Sound like the well off a Dory right there, or not? Or Finding Nemo.
21-18.
Real low scoring. 21-18. I'm leaning Georgia right now, and I'm thinking 30. They just barely get into 30. I mean 30 to 20. 30-20.
I'm going to take Georgia 28-10. I don't think – I know, 18 points. I think it's a close game till late. I think Michigan gets in a situation where they have to force something and throws a pick or something like that. I don't see Georgia.
And part of the reason why
I think Georgia's defense will be very
part of the
very
reason
dominant.
why I could see Michigan, and this could be just a crazy reason. Every year
We love
there's
crazy
that
reasons.
one team that it's just their year. And I'm not saying this isn't Georgia's.
Yeah, but it's not Michigan.
Everybody said
if Georgia don't
hold
win,
on.
then Bama is.
Everybody said
By the way, I'm just putting you on
everybody
notice.
said it's eventually got to happen that Jim Harbaugh gets over Ohio State.
Yeah, but we didn't
Finally
say
happened.
But we didn't say it eventually has to happen that he beats.
I didn't say that either.
That he wins
but
the
I'm saying
Also, wanted to go on record once again. Recency bias is a pain in the butt. Let's not act like Jim Harbaugh doesn't have a tendency to get outcoached in big games.
he does.
No, I mean
Now,
there's
this
facts
year,
to that.
This year he has not.
That's what I'm saying.
This year he has not. But in the past,
He has.
in big games, he's not only got outcoached, but a lot of times he's got extremely outcoached.
And there's absolute truth to that. 1,000,000% truth to that. But let's also bring in the fact that a lot of that's been against a way more talented Ohio State team than
I
what he's
agree.
had at Michigan.
I agree.
But there's absolute truth
Right.
to that. I believe he's struggled bad against his rivals and against.
But so, like I say, I agree with, just to close it out, I think Michigan would match up better with Bama. And if they beat Georgia and go to Bama, I think they can beat Bama. I mean, Ohio State came in with a lot of the similar tendencies of Bama, and they beat
very
them.
similar.
And they didn't. I mean, in my understanding, they won pretty handily.
Yeah.
by the-
And
by
I mean,
the
they
end of the
honestly
game.
could have won. I mean, Cade McNamara had an interception early they were about to score another touchdown. I mean, they could have won the game more than what they really did.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff goes in these games. Players that aren't all that good play better than what they are.
Right.
Players that are good play lesser than what they are. And so you never know exactly what you're going to get. But if we were to give a breakdown, I think we see a very defensive game, low scoring.
Old school kind of game.
I think Georgia's defense is going to come out, and I just think they're going to dominate.
I'm excited.
And that doesn't mean that.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch
Hey, we
it.
can try to get together and watch it
Michigan
again.
doesn't.
Or
No, I'm down.
Okay, I didn't know.
I'm y'all. Oh yeah, y'all be back.
If we get to the Natty, I probably won't be by myself.
I'm-
Dallas wants the clock, but we'll figure out something. Me and David.
Yeah,
can
I'm excited to watch it. Though.
do we have a watch party? Hey, we do
we'll
a
be
live stream
back.
watch party, bro,
live
on
stream watch
YouTube.
party? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So,
All
but
three of our viewers.
give us your picks. Let us know what you think.
Thanks for watching.